The average American will go on 24 diets in a lifetime. The weight comes off, but
you're going to be absolutely thrilled. We've got a great panel of men and women. Bob Berkowitz. Bob is the men's reporter for the NBC Today show. Warren Farrell, a psychologist who's written Why Men Are the Way They Are. He seems to understand. Claudette Sims, who really isn't too swift on men, has written a book called Don't Weep for Me. And Tracy Cabot, How to Keep a Man in Love with You Forever. Okay, let's get started. Tracy has a question for our male panel.
Well, we were saying, why do men cheat? And one of the reasons they cheat is because we give them what we think they want. In other words, we say, I love you a lot, and we clean the house, and we become the perfect woman, when actually what he really wants is a back rub. So he's out cheating with someone who gives him a back rub, and he says, my wife doesn't understand me.
I think it's important.
All right, let the men,
Right.
Wait, let the men answer. Bob, you want to answer
But he would never
her?
tell us that he wants a back.
One of the problems, Tracy, is that you're making quite a generalization about 125 million American men, not to mention those who live in Bolivia, England, or wherever else. I mean, let's be careful about this. Everybody has their reasons for behaving in a certain way. Now, there may be some men who act the way you do. They're just dying to get a back rub by another woman. I don't know. Why do women cheat? You know, I read Claudette's book. It's worth reading. She says there that up to 70% of all married men cheat. I don't know where she got that from, but that's her figure, and I'll
Latest statistics.
Okay, latest statistics. It's my favorite line. People magazine a few weeks ago had a statistic that said that, I think they were quoting the Kinsey report, saying that as many as 50% of all married women cheat. So what are we arguing in a matter of degree here?
Well, it's a difference when women cheat and when men cheat. When men cheat, they're liable to break up the relationship.
Men cheat with women, and women
Women are not. Women are not looking to ruin their lives and their children's lives and break up the
men are looking to ruin their lives.
I think the bottom line has to be, and something we were going to talk about in today's program, the bottom line has to go back to commitment. How committed are you to that relationship? How committed are you to that marriage? That's why people cheat, because there is no commitment. There's not the kind of commitment that says, I will stay here and work this out. I will not go off and cheat. That's why people cheat.
We're missing something fundamental. First of all, every time a man cheats, he cheats with a woman. So, who is usually all these.
Okay. All right. We've addressed cheating, and we've decided to adjourn to the bar. We had no answer. Audience, respond.
In response to that last thing, now I'm not so sure if he's cheating with a woman. Doesn't necessarily mean now that a man is cheating with a woman or that a woman is cheating with a man. I mean, the headlines now would lead me to believe that there's a lot more going on in the other direction that I would care to really think about.
If our commitments were forever, the way they were supposed to be, and if we said we two people are going to grow old together, and we really care about this relationship, then we don't cheat, because we don't want to risk that relationship.
We really want to understand why men cheat, and let's look at what commitment means to men versus what commitment means to women. All through men's life, we socialize men to be involved with the two magazines that sell best to men, Playboy and Penthouse. We socialize women to buy, and they do buy, the magazines that sell best to women, Better Homes and Gardens and Family Circle. Then we say, why are men afraid of commitment? When men commit, they promise to give up their primary fantasy of Playboy and Penthouse. When women commit, they promise to get their primary fantasy of Better Homes and Gardens and Family Circle.
But we give up our fantasy too. You know, Playgirl
No,
fantasies. We have fantasies too.
Let me ask you something, Warren. Why do men buy Penthouse and Playgirl? Why do you guys read that magazine?
Because all of our lives we learn that if anybody is going to have access, if there's ever going to be a sexual relationship, we're the ones that have to take the initiatives. We have to activate our sexuality.
I, of course, just apply for the articles.
Okay.
What I was going to say about commitment is, aren't men committed to their job? Is that cheating on your wife?
Well, it's a very good question. When women say, why are men afraid of commitment, what they always mean is, why are men who are successful afraid of commitment? They're not usually worried about men who are unsuccessful being afraid of commitment.
Young woman, when you say...
Oh, yes, that's another, that could be another
Do we
form of
say
cheating.
about a
I'm way
man being
over here with
committed to his job, aren't you also saying, as soon as he lessens his commitment to his job, because, well, honey, I want you home a little bit more. I like to see you around the house a little bit more. He comes home, he de-emphasizes the point of the job, and some women, not all, some women suddenly dump the guy because he's not bringing as much bread into the house as he was in the old days.
And how many men
Think about it.
dump their women because they're not as gorgeous or sexy
That
as they
happens
used to be?
too.
Well, they
That
just finished
happens
law
too.
school. They don't need her to,
We're
to support them anymore.
We're saying
Yeah,
that's not
there's not a-
true.
it's not
But
just
what you've asked us for is the male experience. The male experience does not have to be true for the female. It's our experience and our feelings. If you're asking us for our feelings, here are our feelings. Don't cut us off and say it's not true. Those are where we come from.
I don't think that commitment is the reason that people cheat, most of the people. I think that lack of commitment is why it doesn't stay together after they cheat. I mean, I think a person, if we're talking about that, isn't getting their needs met in a relationship, and they're committed to that relationship, but, as hard as they try, they're not getting their needs met. And so you're talking about an individual that's functioning from a level where they're just scraping to get their needs met, and they're walking down the street, and this nice-looking guy, or vice versa, starts saying, you're attractive, something, and all of a sudden, you feel this feeling. I mean, I think that you get trapped up and go, hey, this is what it feels like to have my needs met. Completely unsuspecting, and I think it's for both guys and women. I mean, I'm sure that it is.
It's also a no-win situation. I mean, if the relationship works out and you fall madly in love, you ruin your home life, and if it doesn't work out, you feel foolish. I mean, you really can't win having an affair.
And why can't some of the same needs that you think are not being met, why can't you communicate to the other person? So when they go out on the street, okay, and this person massages the ego and says the right things, we have to learn how to talk a little bit better to each other.
Question?
This doesn't have a lot to do with commitment, but since we have these well-informed, sharp, knowledgeable men here, I'd like to ask one question. Why is it that many, and I don't have the numbers, so I won't say most and I won't say all, but why is it that many high-achieving, successful men choose, I won't say airheads, but not
Twinkies?
not assertive, strong, competent, high-achieving women as mates? Most of these men, if you look at the doctors, the attorneys, the very well successful businessmen have mates who are lower achievers, and perhaps they've achieved well since they've married them with those great incomes.
Yes.
But why is it they don't choose women who are comparable to them?
Bob,
Tracy
are
calls
men
them wimps.
threatened by successful women?
I think some men are.
That's
true.
I think
Some men
truly
are
some men
threatened.
are threatened by successful women. If we all become a little secure within ourselves, men and women, and that's one of the themes that I like in Claudette's book, if we think of ourselves in a positive, strong way, we're not going to feel threatened by men. We're not going to feel threatened by women. And that's the whole, that's
Besides,
the
you
point.
can boss an airhead around like you can at work. You can come home and be the boss, and that's
There's a difference
also part
between
of it.
why men marry the attractive airhead and the answer to the question, are men afraid of successful women? Men are not, most men are attracted to successful women, but they are also threatened by successful women. They're threatened by successful women because the more successful a woman is, the more likely she is to marry up and therefore reject any given man. Now, so that's one of the reasons that men are threatened by but yet attracted to. So if I'm sitting across the room from a very attractive woman who's 50 years old, and I think, gee, I'm reasonably decent looking, maybe I can have a chance of having a relationship with her. But if I learn that that attractive woman is Gloria Steinem, I know almost immediately that she's going to be seeking out some multimillionaire, which in fact she is, even though she's supposed
wait, we don't-
because
we
we
don't
know
necessarily
that
know.
she's going.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Chairs, sofas, and recliners, go see Cow. 1,000 colors to select. You shop factory direct. Go see Cow, go see Cow, go see Cow.
Thanks, Cal. Hi, I'm Steve Arnold, owner of Leather Factory, where you can buy quality leather furniture. Come on in, pick a style and color. We'll make it the way you want it, as a sofa or a sofa bed, with or without buttons. For your home or office, make the Leather Factory your first choice for quality, selection.
On some of the needs of black women, and I think that, frankly, you're wrong. Those are not black women. Those are women of all color, and they apply to. Would you tell me what you think is wrong with men today, real quick, Claudette? What's wrong
I think
with
the
men?
basic problem is dishonesty.
Men are dishonest?
They're dishonest. They're dishonest with themselves about what they want, what they can do for us, what they can do for themselves. And I think that they allow that dishonesty to create divisions between men and women.
Let's do honesty between the two of us, okay?
Okay, let's do honesty.
We're out on a date together. It's our first date. And you say to me, Warren, I want you to be really honest.
Right.
And so I say to you, okay, one of the things I really want to be vulnerable and honest about is that I am going out with you, but I was really very much more interested in Tracy, who to me was much more attractive, but I didn't have the security to ask Tracy out.
Right.
So I asked you my second choice out.
Right.
Now that might be a real feeling that a man has inside of him. If you were honest and expressed that to you, how do you respond to that?
I think I would say you should really go out with Tracy. But I'm saying, but that's not a problem with that. I mean, that's the choice that you gave me when you told me the truth, and that's my choice. I have to make a decision about that.
There are there are truths and there's dumping. I mean, you don't just dump on another person. You go see your shrink and dump on them. You know, your problem about who to ask out.
Goes back to sensitivity.
Yeah, sensitivity. You don't have to tell
Well,
all
you're
the
broke
truth.
also.
One at a time.
Yes, I would like to address my question to all four of you. Now, there's a battle between, you know, the sexes that's going on. I'm a single person myself, and I'd like to ask a single career question. What about the career lady that is independent, she loves, she shows her love, she take her fellow to dinner, etc.
What's the question?
What is wrong with equality for everyone?
Giving too much too soon to men, and they will not appreciate it. Men only appreciate you if they have to work for you, if it's hard to get.
Does anybody buy that?
If it's too easy, they don't appreciate it.
Bob, answer Tracy.
It's game playing, Tracy. Let's be real and honest with each other, not give them a little.
Bob, are you going to be the only peacock that won't spread their feathers? I mean, this is a mating game we're playing. And you have to do a certain amount of ritual mating games that we go through. You can't tell someone the absolute truth about you on the first date, you know, oh, my parents abused me and I had a terrible childhood and I hate my job and I cry every night when I go to sleep. I mean, who wants to hear all that?
And I want to get married in 3 weeks.
Right.
I mean, that really will keep
you
them
say
there, right?
that and they are gone.
I'm getting a little sick of hearing about the successful man and how we need to be understanding, because everyone wants to be successful, women and men.
Sure.
And now this is a different age. Most women do not want to sit home and take care of a house and take care of their babies and wait for the man to come home and say, you did a nice job.
Not all women.
Not all women, maybe not. But
most
a lot of women, today's society, they have to work. So they have the same frustrations, the same bosses, the same quality of we've got to do well and then come home and do things too.
The most liberating thing for a man is a woman who earns her own source of income, which can then allow us to take risks at our job and our work. If I hadn't been married to a woman for many years who is now vice president of IBM, I wouldn't have had the ability to take risks at my job and do the type of writing that I do. But there is a difference between a career woman. A woman who supports herself in this society is called a career woman. A man who supports himself in this society is called a playboy or afraid of commitment. Until he's, what's the best-selling book on the New York Times bestseller list? The Peter Pan Syndrome for 2 years. And what does Peter Pan mean? A man who isn't grown up because he's afraid of committing. But who were the men that were afraid of committing? They were successful men. And we said they weren't grown up because they were afraid of making a commitment.
Why is that true, though? We were talking about commitment. We got into commitment after you're married. Why are so many guys afraid to just get married and afraid to be committed and afraid to say to a woman, I'd like to live with you for the rest of my life? Why have you guys got a problem with commitment?
Because men's fantasy is not better homes and gardens and family circle. Our fantasy is, what we need women for is intimacy, understanding, and love, because we have learned to take care of our primary economic needs of security.
Your premise is incorrect. The number of marriages has skyrocketed over the last couple of years, and unless I'm wrong, half of them are men.
Yes, it would seem all right.
Half of them are divorces. 1 in 2 people in marriages are getting divorced today.
Because
So what's the
something in
point?
the relationship is not being satisfying to
Men
men
aren't
and to
interested in
women.
commitment.
And more dissatisfying to women than many men.
You know, men don't have anything biological against commitment, but men are committing themselves to women too.
Men do want to commit. I give a seminar for how to make a man or a woman fall in love, and many times I have more men there than women.
Absolutely.
Men, you know, they don't want to be wimps, and yet they want to be sensitive. They have a big problem, but so do we. Men want us to be independent, but not too independent. And when you are a career woman, they expect you, even if you don't clean the house with your own hands, you're in charge of delegating and making sure it gets done.
Quick question.
But don't you agree that friendship plays a big part in a relationship?
Absolutely.
When a man and woman goes out to cheat on each other, the friendship has diminished
Trust
within the
betrayed.
relationships. I've been married a lot of years, and my husband is my best friend.
And that's which is the best way of marriage. I want to ask our men, why you guys are so interested in sports. I want to ask our women, why are we women so angry with men? When we return.
Nothing more, nothing less than that. Women like soap operas, some women like soap operas, men like sports. It's just entertainment, it's escapism, period. Nothing more than that.
Nothing more than entertainment. Sports was the way we got attention when we were a kid. It was the first childhood way when we could stand out, where our parents would come and pay attention to us and say, my son, the football star, where the girls cheered and none of the girls...
That's just a performer, though, Warren. We're talking about just watching the ball game on Sunday.
But that all ties into our emotional system in the same way that Dallas and Dynasties and Knots Landing ties into women's emotional system of being swept off their feet and carried away by a successful
I'd like
man.
to see men as committed to sports, as committed to a relationship as they are committed to sports. I mean, that would be a wonderful day, right?
Okay. And I agree with that.
Sure would, Tracy, the guys are accusing us of being angry. And I think maybe they've got a point. Why are we women so...
Well, one of the reasons is because we don't want to sit around and bring me another beer and sit in the sidelines and cheer anymore. We want to be out there being the ones who are leading the active life and doing. And we're not willing to do all those things that we used to do, and yet we still want love. We want our men to hug us. We want them to kiss us. We want them to tell us that they love us. We want them to tell us that we're beautiful. And they're not doing those things that we need.
And the other reason is that we have changed. We're not, they're still reading Playboy. We're not reading Good Housekeeping anymore. That point was made earlier. We're reading Cosmo. We're reading other magazines. And we want them to move with us.
We're reading Business Week,
That's why Good Housekeeping
I don't
outside
think the
Playboy
men
could
watching sports is any big deal. And if you kind of get involved with them and you sit there with them, you're going to get all the love, hugs, and kisses you want.
Yeah. And you can go get the popcorn.
No, he never does that.
No, next question. I don't know about that.
Is he going to sit with me at a fashion show
Exactly.
though, and watch the clothes come down the aisle?
What you said about the soap operas, I don't mind my husband watching sports. He eats, drinks, sleeps sports every day, and I don't mind it. But when I'm gone during the day at work or wherever, and I tape my soap operas because I want to see them when I get home. And when I get home and I want to watch them, he's like, come on, I want to watch this or I want to watch that. But I don't yell when he watches his football games on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday.
Wednesday. All right, I want to get back to
getting their own way all the time. And we're fighting a
Claudette?
losing battle here.
Another thing that you say that we are upset with men because there's no honesty. Give me thing two that we're upset with.
I think the second thing is what we talked about earlier, and that's commitment. Some men can't even say commitment. I mean, you can't even get them to pronounce the word or spell the word. And I think that we want it, we need it. We have been programmed. You guys have been programmed to do certain things, to watch sports. We've been programmed to need that and want that. And until we get that, we're going to keep fighting. With Tracy and I and all the rest of the women are going to keep fighting because we think there is hope for us coming together and both of us wanting and needing that commitment.
Both of you, men have said that we gossip too much, that we really have to talk to our girlfriends and have to gossip.
I think men gossip as much as women do.
It's called nurturing. It's called nurturing, Sally.
We're all gossip.
I would like to ask the four, how many are married? And also, if you're married, what has made your marriage successful?
Okay, let's start with Tracy. Tracy, are you married?
Well, I'm married, and I use a lot of the techniques in my book on my husband. I manipulate him to keep him happy as much as I can, because I think having a happy husband is the key to a good marriage. And I will do almost whatever it takes to keep my marriage happy. but I won't do anything that makes me feel bad about myself.
Okay.
And I think that's the
others-
bottom line.
Are you all, the rest of you, single?
I'm married.
You're married?
I'm single.
Two singles, so that ends that. Go to Bob.
My wife and I think the key to the success of our marriage is that we anticipate each other's needs. We know how to please each other and how to support each other and how to love each other. And by the way, she makes more money than I do, and that's okay with me.
All right.
Question.
A lot more money.
Okay, I think one thing, my wife and I were both career people, and we get involved with each other's lives.
Like Bob and his wife.
Right.
And
And
so
I
that's
think
what
that's
works.
very important.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Important thing we can do for our relationships is to show appreciation, not criticism for the
Bob?
other person.
Let's understand both sexes' problems. We'll all be a lot better off.
Sally, let's listen to each other.
Yes.
And if you did not get enough of our guests, and I can understand that, they're pretty terrific. Why men are the way they are. Warren Farrell has written this book, and he says that he can help us understand the darlings. I don't know. Would you hold that? And this is Claudette's book we've talked about, Don't Weep for Me, and I guess she's saying become independent in this book, and if you don't have a man, you can still live, right?
A fulfilling life.
Now, Tracy says, you got the guy, now how to keep a man in love with you forever. Boy, you're a good group. Boy, did we have a fantastic time. We really listened.
Some members of our audience will receive, and a promotional fee has been provided by...
Take a gamble on Yahtzee, there's a million ways to play.
Yahtzee, triple Yahtzee, word Yahtzee. Take a gamble. From Milton Bradley.
And now, I'll be the first to bite a Chips Ahoy cookie without biting a chip. I bit a chip.
Chips Ahoy, original and chew.